Hi, everybody. This morning I was tagged in a forum. There was a discussion regarding rules. Someone had asked a question about a small Lenormand reading, and someone said, there really are no rules. It's, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. And I had to take pause because actually this is a very rule-based system. So it's read like sentences. Each card is like a word or a part of a sentence, and you're just reading the flow of sentences. You're not telling a story in each card like you would other oracles. And other oracles are read differently than Lenormand, where you have a picture or an image that sparks a creative, intuitive response, and you can just tell a story based on that. So the mood of the card, the emotions you feel when you look at the cards, or the expressions of the characters in the card come into play. This doesn't happen with Lenormand. So each card is like a word that is a symbol that is always that symbol each time you read it. And the order of the symbols matters, just like in a sentence, and the grammatical structure is very relevant to how you read those cards. So I understand that it takes time to learn the rules, but if you can devote yourself to do that, the accuracy of this is just so motivating to continue using it when you see that it's trying to tell you a message and tell you something that's very precise. The motivation is in those results. So if you can devote yourself to a little bit of time to learning those rules, just like when you learned a little language at school or whatever, it's very gratifying. So I saw also on Facebook there was a man who had a paint roller, and he would go up to store signs or billboards where there was an inappropriate apostrophe, and he would erase those apostrophes to make it grammatically correct. And I'm thinking, yay to him. But you know what? That he would make a really fantastic Lenormand reader because he understands the rules and how something is inappropriately interpreted because the rule wasn't followed. So that's Lenormand. So I want to give you some specific examples how language and Lenormand intersect. So these two words, here's our apostrophe guy here. So if he were to see Y-O-U apostrophe R-E in your, he would know the difference. So if you were to say, hey, you're sweet, you are sweet. So that's a contraction versus you're sweet. This is yours. Here, this is your sweet. It's yours. So that's your sweet. It's a possessive. He would understand the difference and say like they mean two totally different things. So in the Lenormand cards, these would not be the same card. These would be two totally different cards with totally different meanings. So another example, it's and IT apostrophe S, it's. So if you were to say, it's father. So let's take the word father. It's father. So that little bear cub, that's its father. So that it belongs to it. And this one, IT apostrophe F, oh, it's father. He's here. It is father. So they're two totally different meanings. And anyone that has a good grasp of the language would understand the appropriateness of one versus the other. And again, these would be two totally different cards. Now, the structure of the card is also, the word order structure is also very relevant in Lenormand. So if I were to say hit child, somebody hit child. So there's an action on something, and that becomes the sentence. So something hit a child, a car or a person, whatever it is, something caused this to that. If you switch these, and you put it this way, child hit, now the child is doing the action. So this is the agent that's acting, this is what's happening. These two things, the same two words when they're switched, have totally different meanings. Likewise, if you were to consider like this is maybe the child card in Lenormand and this is maybe the whip, if you were to switch them, there's a totally different relevance to the answer and what it means. And this happens so often in Lenormand readings. The order of the cards is very, very relevant and important. So when you know these rules, it's very significant. When something is near, one card is near or far away, that's very important. So all these things in these rules are what keep a reading from being sloppy and hard to interpret. Once you understand the rules, it becomes very clear what's a yes, what's a no, and how to identify an answer. So those really good readers, when I see them in a room and they know how to make those grammatical connections, they're able to very clearly see the answer. So yes, the rules do matter in this. It is different from other oracles. And remember, when we're talking about reading Lenormand, it's not 36 cards. We're talking about using a system. So when you go to a group and you're learning how to read the Lenormand, you're learning the language of Lenormand, how to read the system, not just how to understand what the cards might mean and do whatever with. There's a really nice system with it. Also collect data, like if you're ever confused, if there's a negative card in the beginning, you're like, oh, what does that mean? Yes or no? And find out for yourself too. I mean, listen to what people say, but take data, write a journal, find out, make a prediction, see what it means for you. And then when the prediction happens, whatever is the outcome, go back and read what you wrote and see if it was accurate or not, and see how the cards read for you. Okay, so, and that will also help you get confidence in your reading and understand how precise they can be in those methods of reading. Okay, so yeah, I guess I'm going to say here that the rules do matter if you're reading the system, and it is what gives the precision. So I'm a real supporter of that tradition and following what those rules are, because just like a perfectly worded sentence that's so crisp and clear to read, you get that Lenormand and you're going to say, sweet, I understand it. That is super clear. And a shout out to the apostrophe guy. I think what he did was really cool.